Hey, y'all, watch this.
What's up, Wally Hawkins? Hey, Todd Barton here from the Barton
Group. Yes.
Right? I mean, well, we're going to talk about F1 a little bit, right? Because F1, it's next week.
Yeah.
Actual race is on the 18th, right?
Next Saturday. Nope. Is it Saturday or Friday?
I think it's Saturday.
Yeah. It's Saturday.
And it starts at 10 p.m.
I know.
So leaves us out, right? We're not going. Not only because the tickets are expensive, but
well, let's talk about that ticket price now. There's been some stories posted lately on how prices are plummeting. That's the word being used.
Really? Like how much?
50%. Like room prices on the Strip have dropped into the $200 a night. Well, I think it's a little over 200, but in the 200 range.
A night, per night.
At a huge event on a weekend, it's unheard. Even on a weekend without an event, it's higher than $200.
Yeah, well, I think I heard like 285, so it's pretty close to 300, but still it's like seems like I heard that it's like a 25 to 30% drop in room rate on the Strip.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Not sure why.
Yeah, I don't know either. What about tickets to the actual race? Are they coming down?
I haven't heard any specific numbers, but I did hear some talk that everything at this point in time has come down somewhat.
Just starting to come down a little bit.
Except for the people that bought high-end packages at the very beginning.
I think like Bellagio, which I think is like center stage of this whole thing. Didn't they sell out on they had some big main.
Yeah, I was reading that they had like a $12,000 package per person, but it includes room and food and partying and this and that.
Well, and it's also all the practice route, all the practice times, all the qualifying. I also thought it was interesting. I seen on the 16th and 17th, they are practicing at night also. So I guess it makes sense. Yeah, I guess it makes sense that they got to practice at night. But that'll really be, it's pretty loud, right? So I guess if you're in town for F1, you're going to spend some time up in the middle of the night.
Well, you're going to hear it from your house.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'll step outside and listen to it for a while.
I don't even know if you're going to have to step outside.
Come on, it's not that loud.
I remember a few years back when we had the first one. It was the only one.
Yeah.
And I could hear it from Caesars to my house. Granted, then there wasn't a lot of obstacles between Caesars and my house, but...
Yeah, actually, I think I have a picture of you, if we can put that picture up.
Yeah, that's me right there.
Back in the 80s, right? We're not
I'm
sure.
the guy with hair this time.
Yeah, one of the few times we have pictures of you with hair. So I think it's going to be cool. I think it's like anything else, right? A lot of the locals, by the way, the race is not for locals. It's for the tourists, right? That are coming in. And there are a fair amount of locals. I won't say a lot. There's a fair amount who are a little upset about some of the things they've done to the city to make this happen. It seemed pretty fast. Of course, there's always talk about how do they build things so quickly, because in this town it's pretty tough to get permits pulled and get permission to do building certain things.
A lot of money.
Well, these guys have built some massive structures.
The paddock, number one.
Yeah,
that's $500 million, and they built that in a matter of like 3 months.
How much did it cost? Here's a picture of it under construction.
$500 million, 500 million.
Yeah, so on the screen, you see the 3 white towers on the left.
Yes.
So the cars will come towards us, past those 3 towers, and then actually past the paddock there that's being built, and they'll come in, and that's the pits.
That's where they pit, yeah.
Yeah, on this side, the what we can see is the front side on that picture, and then they leave the pits, go right around to the other side, and then away from us onto that first little street you see there, which is Harmon, and they make a right-hand turn and go down Harmon towards
the sphere.
Yeah, towards the sphere. So it looks something a little bit like this. If you look at that, you can see they come around the upper right corner where it's blue. That's the paddock. They come in, come around, get on Harmon there, and then they go down around the sphere. Which, you know, it's like anything else. It's going to be tragedy until the race happens, and then everyone's going to be okay.
Right.
Like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fun. It's going to make the town a bunch of money. I don't know if it's going to make the town as much money as they said it might make, you know, based on...
What'd they say, 1.3 billion?
Yeah, something in the billions.
Yeah. Well, everything's a billion these days.
Yeah, went from $1 million to $1 billion, yeah. Wait till it goes to trillions. I don't know if we'll be around for that, but...
I hope not.
Yeah. So it'll be fine. It'll you know, it'll just be what it is.
It'll die down till the next huge event.
Yeah. Well, it'll die down until it comes back next year, and the people that have hurt feelings will still. I mean, my understanding is they have a 10-year contract, so it's going to be here every year for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they'll get more used to kind of what that looks like. The only thing that I'm really concerned about that's really been upsetting for me is the trees they cut down in front of the Bellagio.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I didn't even know what was happening. He told me, our sound guy that you guys can't see,
Steve.
he told me they cut the trees down. I thought he was wrong. Then you told me they cut the trees down. I thought you were wrong, but you guys were right.
Wow, it's always nice to be right. Well, the interesting thing is they cut them down in the freaking middle of the night. They didn't say nothing. They didn't
they're
make an
not gonna-
announcement.
no.
Just one night they come in and cut them off at the ground.
They
and
were
they're
mature
gone.
trees, huge.
Oh, they've been there for 20, 25 years, right? I mean, yeah. So I'm a little upset about that. I'm curious to see what they do about that, because literally that's really one of the only places on the Strip where there's shade.
And you know what? I have a great picture of that. I got to give it to you.
Okay, yeah, we should see that.
I'm wondering if they possibly dug them out and saved the root.
No, bro, no, they cut them off at the ground.
I was hoping.
Like they got little plastic bags over the stumps. The stumps are flush with the ground, but they're cut
They didn't
off.
even make any attempt to save them.
No, they're done. They're gone. They're chipped. They're fertilizer in someone's yard probably. Unless they have some way to make a tree grow. Maybe they'll graft it back together. I don't know. No, they're not going to do that. Anyway, that's the only part of the whole thing that's been kind of troubling for me. I'm kind of somewhat of an outside guy, nature guy, and
Well, no, I agree with that. I'm not happy about that action at all, period.
I'll be interested to see. In fact, I'll be watching to see what they do about that. Like, are they just going to leave it, or
I can't imagine they would leave it vacant or just open like that. It would just look bad.
And it's 110 degrees here for 3 months out of the year. How are they going to? People need some shade, or they're going to have to put like a EMT station there full time.
Under a pop-up tent.
Yeah, with a little air conditioner blowing. Yeah. So they turn, back to that the track map there. They turn, go down Harmon, and they go around the Sphere. And it sounds to me like they're handing out money at the Sphere, because it sounds like they've lost a little money there this year.
Yeah, an article came out about they've lost 1.3 billion.
No, I think it's in the millions. What was the number? It's just under 100 million.
Oh.
So the report is in the first quarter, which ended September 30th. Which this is weird for me. First quarter ended September 30th. They lost $98.4 million in the first quarter, but they weren't even open.
Yeah, I know. So of course they lost money.
Yeah, so how did they expect not to lose money? And I think in the first quarter there, they were counting all the advertising they were selling. Like if you were going to advertise there, you had to pay for it in the first quarter so that when it did open. So I think that's where that comes from. But, You know, to say that it lost $100 million in the first quarter is kind of weird to me because it really wasn't even open. You
Why
can't
did
really.
What about first quarter? First quarter is at the beginning of the year.
No, their first quarter.
Oh,
The first quarter of their existence, I guess.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
October, November, December, which U2 has been playing there. They're sold out for 3 straight months. Every night they play there.
Right.
And it's it had been very difficult to get into even some of the movies that were there. So I think they're selling plenty of tickets. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out down the road. I'm always kind of looking at pictures people post of the Sphere. Here's a pretty cool one that was just last month, right? Looks like a big pumpkin. There were several pumpkin ones like that they had put out there. This one was very shocking for me to see, of course. And is this like a...
I don't know what that is.
Well,
it's an eye of something, right?
Out of some lizard or something, isn't it? I mean, isn't that looks like a...
Yeah, kind of does.
It's kind of cool. And then, you know, the ocean.
Yeah, little jellyfish.
Yeah, I don't know if people know how close housing is to actual Sphere, but there's a pretty good picture of some houses that are right next to the Sphere.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, people live down there. So, anyway.
Yes.
Pretty interesting. Sphere is still cool. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how much money they lose.
I don't think they're going to end up losing money in the long run, but
there is conversation, though. In fact, Steve's got a pretty serious opinion that there aren't going to be a lot of artists that are going to want to play there.
I don't know if I agree with that because I think artists will adjust their show for the place. I think he's right that a lot of artists, the way they play now is not with that type of arena in mind, but you'll adjust.
Who knows, huh? So Taylor Swift is on, you know, she's got the multi-billion-dollar thing going now. Would she play there? You think that's something she would adjust?
I would think so.
Yeah. Any country acts? I think when NFR is here, would they have any country acts that would go in there and play?
I think so. I can't remember the country guy's name, so let's go on.
All right. I mean, Jelly Roll would play there, I think.
I don't even know who Jelly Roll is.
You don't?
No.
Oh,
is he country?
Yeah, he's a brand new country artist.
I'm more of a Led Zeppelin guy.
Yeah, I know you're hard. I'm both, right? I listen to.
You
a little
swing
bit
both ways.
Yeah, I swing both ways. I'm not on the fence. Let me put it that way. So anyway, I think they'll get some artists in there. It won't be for everybody for sure. I think it'll work out over time.
I do too.
I think it's.
It's going to be super cool.
Yeah.
Until they build one in Abu Dhabi that's bigger and better.
Well, they're going to do that.
I know.
There's no question about that. So what's going on with Pahrump? Anything happening out there?
Well, as you know, we talked last time that we have a closing going on right now.
Yep.
And that should hopefully, without any issue, be wrapped up in 2 weeks, approximately.
Weeks, yeah. And then I think you were out yesterday or today maybe.
Yeah, because my seller is now looking for another home to buy. He's an investor where he buys a home, fixes it up, sells it, finds another, buys it, fixes it.
Keeps going.
So we went out and looked at a couple properties. And actually, I think Monday we're going to look at another property. But he's already got it narrowed down to 1 or 2.
Well, the one Monday, I think, is the one he's most interested in because you've been trying pretty hard to get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about, you just had somebody move that was looking in Pahrump.
Yeah, that was interesting. I had someone that we were talking and she wanted to go to Pahrump. And then I just found out, I think it was yesterday, that she switched now, doesn't want to go to Pahrump, wants to go to Laughlin.
Oh, Laughlin. What's in Laughlin? What's better?
Not a lot.
Well, her fear in Pahrump was water.
Water shortage.
Yeah. Man, I got to tell you, I don't see, for me, the water thing that people put out there, it's fake news. It just doesn't, if people knew really how much water we had on reserve. I know Clark County has a bunch of water reserved different places. Arizona, we've got a big reserve. We've got a big reserve in California that we could draw from if we needed to. I'm about water conservation. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing water conservation, but you know, I've been here my whole life, and I remember back when I was I don't know, probably just getting out of high school, early 80s, mid 80s ish. And there was this big uproar. We're going to run out of water and it's going to be a ghost town in 10 years because there's going to be no water. And here we are, 2023, and there's plenty of water. We should conserve. I think Pahrump's
And actually, there's been reports that Nevada is the best state in the country as far as reserving or
conserving water.
Conserving
Yeah,
water.
yeah, we're very conscious about it. Like there's campaigns and there's things on all the time. They got rules about when you can water and when you can't water. So yeah, there's the one rule that just came down that you're kind of offended by, and that's the size of the pool, right? They've now restricted how big a residential pool
The
can be.
reality of it is it's still a pretty large pool.
600 square feet.
Yeah.
Surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
That's
a big
still
pool.
pretty big.
Yeah.
It's 30 by 20.
Pretty big. Yeah, I mean most backyards in the valley can't even handle a pool that size.
Right. So it's not a bad thing. Although in the beginning it sounded, oh my gosh, what about the hotels,
Yeah, well, we found out hotels are exempt from that rule.
Right.
And of course, when it very first came out, it was like, oh, they're trying to control us, but really it's not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing.
I don't think so either.
20 by 30 is a big pool.
It is.
It's plenty. If I was at a home today, we're gonna take a listing here a couple of weeks, 1.8 million, over in central part of town. It's called Section 11, like Rainbow-ish and Rainbow and Sahara-ish.
Yeah.
And they've got a pool. And we were actually talking about the house they're going to buy and are they going to put a pool in? And his daughter kind of chimed in and goes, well, except for the big restrictions, you can't put a pool in. And I was like, well, you can still put a pool. It can be as big as 20 by 30. And the homeowner went, 20 by 30, that's twice as big as the pool we have in our backyard now. And I'm like, yeah, it's not a small pool. You're going to be fine. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's just that initial, they're restricting this kind of thing. So, anyway, why is she going to Laughlin? Well, she's going because she's afraid of the water.
Well, she also wants to be away from people.
Yeah, Laughlin's not a bad place for that. Although, they got the big motorcycle run down there every year. Laughlin River runs down there every year. That's going to get kind of crowded for her. Yeah. Although I will say, she's going to get to see some pretty cool fireworks down there because right on the river. Yeah, right on the river every year. These are some pictures you shot when?
That was actually Steve was with me on that. That was the 4th of July.
Yeah, but like 2 or 3 years ago, right? Even longer, maybe.
No, I think it was last year.
Yeah, it was definitely not last year, but okay.
Not this year.
I understand.
Last year.
Oh, you're talking 2022. That's possible. I think it's 21, but what do I know? Anyway, some cool fireworks down there. Great pictures.
The river's fun.
Yeah, so there's a lot to do in Laughlin, right? The river, Colorado River runs right there. It divides Laughlin from Bullhead City on the Arizona side. And so you have plenty to do on both sides of the river there. And then you can get kind of away from the river
and
to
if
get your
you're an
privacy.
outdoors person, it's a great area.
Yeah, it's a cool little town. I don't know if I could live there, but I can't live in Pahrump either. So I'm going to stay here in Vegas.
Maybe you'll look at Mesquite.
No, I don't think my wife's going to let me look anywhere other than right here in great Las Vegas. So she's pretty tied to the city. So my wife grew up all of her, her late childhood through teenage years all the way till she was a adult in a small town in Utah. And so
no more small towns?
I think she's done with that. Yeah. So I think I'll be here for a while, but that's okay. I don't mind it. The last big subject in our life is interest rates.
Which, after the second time, last Wednesday, the second time the Feds met and didn't raise interest rates.
Yeah, so tell me about that. What do you mean by that? When they meet, how often does that happen?
That's a great question. How often?
Yeah, they meet once a month.
Oh, once a month.
Yeah, every month, the first week of the month, they meet and talk about what they're going to do with, what is the Fed going to do about money, basically, is the meeting. And so you're right. The last two they've met and have not raised interest rates.
Right.
So what has that done? I think I've got it.
It has lowered the rates.
Yeah, I think if you look at the right side of that chart, as it comes down, you can see that, that's over the last 3 weeks maybe when it peaked there, and then it started to drop. You can kind of see it's not a very good chart to put up because it's pretty long, but that's actually for the last year. So interest rates kind of dipped there last January, between January, February, took a big hit in March, dropped down a little bit, and then just started to climb up again. But if you look at the very end there, drastic drop there, down from almost 8%. Actually looks like it dipped into the 8% mark, and it's down.
Yeah, at the highest, I think it was 8.03.
Yeah.
And now it's down to what? I know it went up a little bit today from yesterday, right?
755, I think, is what.
Because I think it was at 7.46 yesterday.
7 points. So it did hop up just a touch.
Right.
Yeah, 746 yesterday, 755 today. So yeah, but there's always going to be those little
right. But the bottom line
is, but it's starting to trend down, right? So the question I have is, we're in a slow part of the season for housing. Typically, I mean, Thanksgiving, Christmas, first of the year. I always tell everybody it's probably going to get hot again starting about March. Valentine's Day. Yeah. That's when people really fall in love with each other and want to buy a house. And then it kind of picks up from there for the summer. So if we look at these rates that were up there, they kind of dipped right there kind of at the bottom of February, and then they started to climb back up when it got hot in March. So will it do the same thing this year?
It's a great question because it's also a political year, and that could affect interest rates.
Yeah, there's always talk that whatever administration is in, not being political here, don't come after me, but whatever administration is in during a presidential election year, you typically see things that are more favorable for the general public happen, and interest rate drop is definitely one of those. So maybe we're starting to see the beginning of that. But I'm going to say it again. I've said this before. Mark my words. You can hold my feet to the fire on this one. As soon as interest rates get down into the sixes,
the houses.
Yeah, housing pricing is going to go up, and it's going to be this. Oh well, I should have bought when it was a little bit higher interest rate because I could have got a better price on the house and I could have refied. But when you pay the higher price, you can't change that, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, people say date the rate,
right?
Marry the house, right? So you find the house you want at the best price, whatever rate it happens to be at, and then when rates come down, you just refi it. It's how it works, and I still think the buyers are in a sweet spot right now. There's some inventory out there. There's some stuff to pick from. They can pick a house that they love, and they can live in that house, and then in a year or 2 years, they can refi the house. So I'm sticking to it. I think that's what people should be doing. I will also tell you that I seen recently a new home builder in town is offering 3.75% interest the first year, 4.75 the second year, and then 5.75 every year after that on a 30-year fix.
That's a good deal.
So that's 2% even at the end of the third year there, the beginning of the third year. It's still 2% below the market now. So new homes, I think you're going to see those really take off this year. They're building like crazy, anticipating that they're going to be able to sell quite a few of them. So I think rates will kind of drive people towards new homes because they tend to be able to offer a better rate.
Yeah.
Which for me is a little unfair, but is what it is, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going on for the weekend for you? You got any fun, exciting Las Vegas things you're going to be doing?
No, just working.
Well, you're shooting a big event tomorrow, though, that I think is a cool event because I'm a car guy.
Yes, I am doing that. I'm doing a...
maybe he didn't want to talk about this. Sorry, my bad. I think it's a cool event. I mean, Jay Leno was there last year, right? So
yeah.
Is he going to be there this year?
I'm not sure who's the MC this year. So I did this event last year. I do television production as well.
Yeah.
So this is a TV event where I'm on camera.
Yeah.
And they have
wait, you're behind the camera.
Yeah.
Not in front of the camera.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And they have all these classic cars that are just fixed to the T. And they're placed on the golf course in different holes. And then people walk out and they look at that, and Jay Leno was explaining this and that and this and that to the people looking at the cars. And then there was an auction.
So you can buy a car. Do you get to play golf while the cars are out there?
I don't think so, because you don't want a golf ball hitting
I
those
don't
things.
think you. I don't think you want to hit one with a golf ball. So no, I think that's a cool event. I think
It kind of fits well, right? Because
I'm a
it's
car
right
guy.
before F1.
Well, and it's right after SEMA.
Yeah.
So last week SEMA was here, which is the biggest automotive parts show in the world. Comes here every October, actually it's moved into November now, so it's the first part of November. So it's SEMA's here, and then that happens. Now F1's going to happen. Yeah, so the whole, we always talk about professional sports is really taken off in the Valley, and we've got all the professional teams now. I'm repping the Knights tonight. They're going to play here in just about an hour and a half. So we got to get off this so I can go watch a game. But but the car industry here, the car of the world, is really starting to pick up. You're really starting to see all these things that have to do with high-end fast cars.
Did you know Pahrump has a racetrack?
I did, and I hear that you go out there. I just heard this. I don't know where I heard this, but if you buy a new Corvette,
You heard it from me.
I heard it from you. Oh, okay. Then I can believe it. If you buy a new Corvette, you actually can go out there and they'll teach you how to drive it for real.
For a cost, but yeah.
Well, I mean, if you can buy a Corvette, you can.
But
pay the cost.
the Corvettes now, I mean, they're a super cool car, I think now. For a while, I mean, Corvettes are always cool, but there for several years, they just.
Well, when they were a front engine car, they were a horsepower car. They had a lot of horsepower. They ran good. They were fun to drive because they were fast. Now that it's a mid-engine car, it's now getting into that supercar where it handles well.
Like the Ferrari, the
Like the real
Lamborghinis,
cars, yeah.
it's up in that area now. So it would be, if you buy it, it'd be a great idea to go out on that track and learn how to drive the thing.
So my son owns one, a mid-engine Corvette, and I'm going to see if he's considered going out there. He just had a new baby, so his wife's probably not going to let him go out there, but it'd be fun to go out there and spend the day and drive it around that track.
Yeah.
I want to learn more about the track, so I hope over the next little while we can kind of explore that and see what's going on. They're building multi-million-dollar homes on the track.
I know. There's a little lake out there, and there's the track, and then there's the lake and the homes.
Yeah, and all of the homes have huge garages because they're all car people, so they got places to put their toys and their race cars and all that kind of stuff. They do a lot of tire testing out there in the summer because it's so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's cool. We need to learn more about that. So that's your assignment for next time.
Okay.
Is to go out there and check that out. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get out of here. I think it's time to go watch the Knights go beat the San Jose Sharks.
San Jose. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the Sharks.
Yep. Gonna have to kill the Sharks. All right. See you guys.